latest on September 26th around the wide world of tropics. Here's your tropical weather bulletin. A few systems are active around the world at this point. Both tropical cyclones in the world at the moment are in the Western Hemisphere, namely the Atlantic. Day 269 of the year, September 26, we've seen 67 storms on the radar so far this year. Let's take a look at where it's all happening. Day 117 in the Atlantic, Karen, a weak tropical storm. Lorenzo, we're now putting at Category 2 status, and ex-Jerry near and over Bermuda actually. Day 134 in the Eastern Pacific, Invest 93E is located well to the southwest of Mexico, and in the Western Pacific, Invest 91W could become a tropical cyclone later this week or next week, and Hikaa over the Arabian desert. No systems active in the Southern Hemisphere at this time. It's all quiet here. So, Tropical Storm Karen, currently located in the Western Atlantic, 40 mile per hour winds, 1006 millibars. A lot of people think it could be a threat to Florida. Not very likely at the moment. 297 miles from Anegada to the north, 23 north, 64.4 west. So we're still expecting this loop to happen soon. Karen's very weak and is likely to remain weak for the 5-day period. That's pretty much what all models are on board with at the moment. They did this morning's model runs were saying that, it could become a hurricane, but they've largely backed off that possibility for at least the next 5-day period. Eventually it will trail along towards the Bahamas, probably very weak by then. Lorenzo, we're putting at 100 miles per hour, pressure 972 millibars out in the Eastern Atlantic. This one's intensifying substantially, 843 miles from Brava, Cape Verde, 14.4 north, 37.4 degrees west. This is likely to intensify possibly substantially over the rest of this week into the weekend. Could become a Category 4 when it continues towards the north. It will curve and then it will continue that curve towards the northeast. GFS and ECMWF in agreement that this storm could strike the Azores with a pressure in the 930s. Wow. This is what wind shear is looking like right now over Karen. As you can see, the structure of the storm not looking very good at all. You can see the center of circulation partially exposed. Wind shear isn't particularly high, so I can only assume that it's more dry air that's really got into the way of this storm as it is right now, and possibly some lower sea surface temperatures. But Karen not looking so great as it performs and it comes up to this loop that's supposed to be doing. This is Lorenzo. Look how much better that is looking as well. Massive banding features all around the eye, north and south. It was particularly south yesterday, but near the center of the storm isn't most up-to-date imagery. The latest imagery is starting to show an eye starting to pop out, which is why we've really gone and put it at Category 2 status. I think the National Hurricane Center will follow suit soon. So this is a look at the North Atlantic. You can again see and appreciate just how large Lorenzo is on that screen into the Eastern Atlantic. It sort of looks like it doesn't belong there. It belongs maybe in the Caribbean Sea, but that is going to be a rather large system, or will increase in size as it moves beyond the Azores into the North Atlantic, where some models suggest that it could be an extremely powerful extratropical storm as well. There's the Gulf of Mexico, what's left of that disturbance there dying off. The Eastern Pacific, very quiet here now. No systems, no tropical cyclones active. What's left of Kiko is no longer seeable. We do have one or two areas of interest in the Eastern Pacific that could develop in the next 5 days. One of them has at least a 70% chance from the National Hurricane Center in the 5-day period, so we'll probably see our next name by the start of next week. The Western Pacific, you can see Invest 91W starting to develop a little bit there, just passing Guam, and they could have some flash flooding issues there by that system as it moves through. And I think it's got a little bit of rotation about it. We want to see a bit more, but I think it's got a very good future ahead of it as it moves through into the Philippine Sea. The Australian South Pacific region looking fairly quiet. A few blow-ups in the tropical regions, another one near Samoa, but generally very quiet. And the Indian Ocean looks like this. If you can make out Hikaa, it's moved into Saudi Arabia. but you can also see another little disturbance moving off the western coast of India. I don't think there's model support on that at the moment anymore, but it could still be a potent disturbance. Sea surface temperatures then, still very ragged now in the eastern Pacific. A lot of energy's been sapped out by some tropical cyclones recently. Still off the coast of Mexico, some 30-degree temperatures. Gulf of Mexico, 30 degrees generally, a little bit lower in the east. Caribbean, 29, 30 degrees plus, especially further west. Out at sea, 28 degrees plus where Lorenzo is. The Indian Ocean, very warm, 28 to 30 degrees, warmer in the Bay of Bengal. And in the western Pacific, generally very warm, 28 degrees plus, 30 degrees east of the Marianas, and temperatures dropped off a little bit near the Ryukyu Islands thanks to storm activity there recently. So this is Tropical Storm Karen. Throughout the course of today, it's not been looking that great. Some people, I think, had higher expectations of the storms by now. One or two models did think that it could become a hurricane briefly at this particular juncture, but really it's nowhere near that. Recon earlier found that the storm had weakened to 40 miles per hour. This is Hurricane Lorenzo, which really is the star of the show in the Atlantic now, looking very good indeed. The eye possibly starting to emerge on that latest imagery. It's more apparent on the infrared, which regrettably I don't have for you at this moment, but I can tell you that a shallow eye is starting to appear through that infrared. So, as of right now, here we are. The next name on the Atlantic naming list is Melissa. In the Eastern Pacific, it's Nada. The Central Pacic's next name will be Ima. Over in the Western Pacific, Mitag will be the next name on the list, and that could happen pretty soon. And in the North Indian Ocean, the next name we're looking for now is Kiar. You can find Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com with the latest, our YouTube page, search Force 13 all in text, and subscribe if you haven't so far. And you can also find us on Facebook and Twitter under the same name, Force 13. That's all for now. We'll have another tropical weather bulletin, as always, tomorrow. You can also help the project become even better by becoming a patron. You can see more information about all the benefits involved by visiting patreon.com/Force13. With a special thanks to these people for being our most valued patrons this month. You can also check out our growing merch store so you can show Force 13's colors wherever you go. You can also find a link to our Discord server underneath this video in the description.